We had come to the small fishing village of San Felipe to film a documentary. Our project was meant to capture the fading traditions and beliefs of the area, and the villagers were more than happy to share their tales about the creatures that haunted their nights. But there was one story they hesitated to tell, one name they whispered only after crossing themselves, Aswang. Our guide, Tito Ben, was a wiry old man with skin darkened by the sun and eyes that seemed to have seen too many horrors. As we sat around the fire one evening, he told us the legend. The Aswang can look like anyone during the day, he said, his voice low, his gaze shifting to the shadows around us. But at night, it changes. It can become a large black dog, a flying creature with wings like a bat, or even a ghostly, headless apparition. It preys on the weak, the sick, and the vulnerable. You can tell when an Aswang is near because you'll hear a tik-tik-tik sound. The quieter it is, the closer the creature. He glanced at us, his eyes reflecting the flames. Never go out at night, he warned. And if you hear the tik-tik, you must hide and pray it doesn't find you. We laughed nervously, but I noticed the way the other villagers clutched their charms, their expressions tight with fear. Our first few days went smoothly. We filmed fishermen hauling in their nets, visited local markets, and even recorded a traditional healer performing a blessing ritual. But by the fourth night, something changed. It started with a woman's scream, echoing through the village just as the sun dipped below the horizon. My heart lurched as I ran outside, my camera bouncing against my chest. The villagers were already gathered, whispering, their faces pale with dread. What happened? I asked Tito Ben, who had appeared beside me, clutching a wooden rosary. Maria, he said, his voice grim. Her baby is coming early. I followed the crowd to Maria's small, wooden house. Inside, she lay on a bamboo mat, her face contorted with pain. Her husband, a young fisherman named Nando, was beside her, tears streaming down his face. The midwife worked frantically, but I couldn't ignore the tension in the air, the way people whispered about this Aswang, about how it craved unborn children. Is she going to be okay? I asked. Tito Ben shook his head. Pray that the creature doesn't come for her tonight. That was the first time I felt real fear. We returned to our small cabin as the villagers gathered their charms and lit blessed candles. The night felt thick, oppressive, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Jesus, this place is spooky, Aaron, our sound guy, muttered, pouring himself a shot of whiskey. He'd been joking about the folklore all day, but now his hands trembled. Do you think any of it's real? Chloe, our producer, whispered, her eyes darting to the windows. Probably not, Aaron scoffed. But these people sure believe it. Just then, a sound drifted in through the night. A soft, rhythmic tick-tick-tick, like something tapping on the leaves outside. It was faint but unmistakable. My blood turned to ice. Did you hear that? Chloe whispered, her voice cracking. Aaron laughed, but it sounded forced. Just an animal. Relax. The tick-tick came again, louder this time, and I realized what Tito Ben had said, the quieter the sound, the closer the Aswang. My mouth went dry. Turn off the lights, I said, my voice barely more than a breath. What? Aaron protested, but I was already moving, dousing the lanterns and pulling the curtains shut. Chloe joined me, her hands shaking. The night swallowed us, and in the suffocating darkness, the tick-tick grew louder. Closer. My heart pounded so hard I thought I might vomit. Outside, something heavy moved through the underbrush, and the sound of wings, massive, leathery wings, filled the air. Holy fuck, Aaron whispered, his bravado gone. The cabin door rattled, and I nearly screamed. Something scratched at the wood, slow and deliberate, as if savoring our fear. The smell of rotten meat wafted through the air, so strong I gagged. Then, a low, wet voice, almost human but twisted, whispered from the other side of the door. Let me in. I backed away, clutching the camera like it could protect me. Aaron grabbed a knife from the kitchen, his face pale with terror. Chloe was crying silently, her hand over her mouth to stifle the sobs. The door shuddered, and I thought it would break, but then the scratching stopped. The tik-tik grew faint, drifting away into the night. We stayed frozen, listening, until the silence became unbearable. "Is it gone?" Chloe whispered, her voice raw. Aaron didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the window. I turned to see what he was staring at and felt the world tilt beneath me. A face was pressed against the glass. Pale, almost translucent, with eyes as black as oil slicks and a mouth that twisted into a grin full of jagged teeth. Its breath fogged the glass, and its tongue, long and black, licked the window slowly. "Fuck this!" Aaron shouted, lunging forward with the knife, but the face vanished. The cabin shuddered, and the sound of wings rose again, circling above us. We huddled together, too afraid to move, and the creature's voice drifted in through the cracks in the walls. "You can't hide forever. We survived the night, though I don't know how. The villagers found us at dawn, pale and shaking, our cabin scratched and splattered with blood that wasn't ours. Maria and her baby had survived, but barely. The villagers said our presence had drawn the Aswang's attention, that we had been foolish to come here without protection. We left that day, our documentary unfinished, our hearts heavy with a terror that clung to us like the tropical humidity. Even now, back home in the city, I can't sleep. I keep hearing that tik-tik, echoing in my nightmares, and I wonder if we really left the Aswang behind."